I'm Jamie Hooper with Remax Crest and jamiehooper.com. The sales statistics from the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver are in for March of 2019, and we're here to dissect them and give you some reason for hope. Before we get started, I'd just like to ask you if you enjoy these videos or get any educational value from them, that we'd really appreciate you either subscribing to our YouTube channel or just clicking the little thumbs up or giving us a comment, positive or negative. We always appreciate your feedback. So many years back, right after Ronald Reagan, I got out of office. I, just by fluke, had the lucky opportunity to see him speak. That was in May of 1988. And one of the things he spoke about always stuck with me. He came on and he said, the best part about not being president anymore is now I can tell you exactly what I feel. And the reason I tell you this is that's why I love doing these videos. It's of no benefit or advantage to me for me to not sit here and tell you the exact truth and tell you how I feel. And that's one of my favorite things about doing these videos. So we're going to talk about March of 1986, or March of 2019. The statistics that just came out a few days ago have said that the March sales total was the lowest March in 33 years, since 1986. Things were different in the 80s. By March of 86, if you can believe this, interest rates were down to 11% for a 5-year mortgage at that point in time. They had reached a high in June of 1981, just about 5 years earlier, of 21.75%. Imagine that. So that was kind of the mood of the market. The market was still recovering from the crash in the early 80s. Now, you've been reading and seeing that we've got the worst numbers that we've seen in decades, but there is some good news to these numbers once you've dissected them and read through them. Many homes are still selling quickly and selling with multiple offers. Now, how can that be when the market conditions are so terrible? So I just want to go through some of these statistics with you first and let you understand. So the list to sell ratios I want to talk about quickly here. The real estate market says if more than 20% of the homes sell, which we saw for detached houses between 2012 and 2016, pretty much everywhere in the lower mainland, were all above 20%. They were 40, 50, 60, even upwards of 70% in some areas during that time of the houses listed for sale sold each month. Now we've got statistics. In Ladner, we've got 9%. In Vancouver East, 7%. On the west side, 7%. And in the Richmond, 5%. That gives you like a 1 in 15 to 1 in 20 chance of getting your house sold each month. Not very good numbers. But then when you go in and look a little deeper into these numbers, there's been 11 houses on the east side of Vancouver during the first quarter that sold with multiple offers. 18 on the west side, 6 in Richmond, and none in Ladner. Sorry, there's just not a big enough sampling of people in Ladner where you'll see that these things happen. So how is it some of these people sell right away and some of them sit on the market forever? That's what I want to, excuse me, try and help you understand here. So let's take these numbers a little further. So of the 11 houses, and we'll just use the east side of Vancouver as an example because the other areas, the numbers are the exact same. So 11 houses sold on the east side of Vancouver with multiple offers. They also only took, on an average, 17 days on the market to sell. Well, there's been 133 houses sell on the east side. So 11 out of 133 of them, about 8 or 9%, sold with multiple offers out of the other 133. But these ones sold in 17 days. The average house on the east side took 44 days to sell. So even the ones that sold took 2.5 to almost 3 times longer to sell. A lot of those houses sold below, or most of those, or all of those actually, the ones that took 44 days, sold below their asking price. There's 1 million buyers out there. The buyers can sit back now and pick out the prime gems of the properties that they want to purchase. It's not like before the foreign buyers tax came in 3 years ago. It's not like you went into a house and you had to make up your mind within 24 or 48 hours if you wanted to buy that home. I now see buyers coming. Over the past week, I've had 2 groups come and look at my house on 3 occasions, 2 different listings. Never saw an offer out of them, and they came 3 times. And another 3 or 4 groups came 2 times, and I never saw an offer out of them. Buyers have no sense of urgency until they see the right listings. There was a house on the east side of Vancouver in January that got 43 offers and sold 40 to 50% above its asking price. What does this tell me? This tells me there's lots of buyers out there, and there's a million other instances too. And that's what these multiple offers on the right listings tell me as well. We had one on the west side of Vancouver that sold well above asking 2 weeks ago as well. So it does happen there. Like I said, 18 houses on the west side have sold with multiple offers. So what do I get out of all of that? There's lots of buyers out there, and at some point, something's going to happen to tweak them to turn the market around. There's to get them jump-started. There's talk about the stress test either being reduced, maybe down to 1%, or being done away with altogether. Also, there's talk of interest rates being dropped when the Bank of Canada meets on the 24th. So a combination of those 2 things could jump-start the market. Maybe we've bottomed. Who knows? You never know. There's so many different things that affect our market around here. One of the other things that's really interesting about these statistics, so here's what we got for sale. The east side of Vancouver, at the time of us filming this video, had 652 houses for sale. West side, 689. Richmond, 833. Ladner, 111. These are all double the amount of, the inventory's rising, and there's way less sales, so that obviously has a big impact on the inventory rising, but that's what takes the pressure off of buyers. What's really interesting is 90% of the homes on the market, and I'm going to explain this again afterwards, 90% of the homes on the market everywhere are not going to sell at the price they are currently listed at. How do I know that? Well, the average days on market and the median days on market in each area, like we just spoke about the east side, 44 of them is 44 is the average days on market for houses sold, and 18 days is the median price. The median is what the middle house sold for. So if there's 100 homes for sale, the median home would be number 50, or 100 homes sold, the median price would be, or days on market would be the middle one that sold, number 50, and that took 18 days. Of the 652 listings, 90% of them have been on the market longer than the median and the average. So unless they drop their price, they're probably not going to sell. That's a real interesting thing. Sellers have not, the bulk of sellers have not accepted the reality. They want to get 2016's price for their home in 2019. That's not going to happen. The people who are accepting the reality are the people that got the multiple offers on their home. They priced their homes in accordance with today's market pricing, and maybe even a little under that, and they're showing us that there's buyers out there while they got those multiple offers. They get a lot of activity on their home. I've got 3 listings here that I just pulled out, and these are the 3 worst case scenarios. What area is this? It's the east side of Vancouver again. They're going to be my example today. So I've got 3 houses on here. One has been on the market for 974 days. Originally listed over $5 million, and they've raised their price actually during this 974-day period. This makes absolutely 0 sense. Their house is probably devalued 15 to 20% during that time, and they're still asking the same price. The next one I've got has been on the market 358 days. They're listed at the same price. that they were a year ago. The market's gone down 12% in the last year. They've lost $150,000 in the value of their home, yet they continue to list it at the same price. I could go through this for a 3-hour video with you if you like and tell you this. And the third one's been on the market 341 days, and it's at the exact same price. These people are not listening to what the market is telling them. The market is telling them that we're not going to accept it at that price. What else can we go through in this little topic I've got through? Oh, here's what I want to talk about too. How a realtor looks at the listing and how a member of the general public looks at the listing might be two different things. Let's say Joe Smith, my buyer, calls me up and says, I would like to see this house at this place. So the first thing I do is I go to the MLS and I pull it up. I don't look at the price as probably a buyer would as the first thing. The first thing I look at is the days on market. So when I know that the average selling time is 44 days, and I see that this has been on the market 341 days, I think, okay, that's interesting. Then I look at the next thing. Then I look at the price, and I see, okay, it's priced at $1.5 million. And then I look at another area where it says the current price is $1.5 million. Then I go look at the next part where it says original price. And what that means, it shows if it was priced higher before and they've dropped it. Why am I curious about that? I want to know if there's any motivation level with this seller that's had their home on the market for a year, which I already really know the answer. There probably isn't. They're listed at the same price. What do I think? Not interested in showing it to my buyer. And I'm going to explain that to the buyer beforehand. I'm going to say, look, this house has been on the market a year. They're at the same price. It's worth $150,000 less than it was worth last year. And why don't I want to do that? See, the general public will think, oh, this guy must be desperate. He's not desperate. If he was desperate, he'd be dropping his price. This guy is probably very flush, and he's just stubborn. That's probably what it is. And I'm not talking about this listing here. I'm just talking about anyone in general. And I'm not talking about a particular listing here. I'm just reading the paper to make it look like I am. So that's how a realtor will look at it. And why don't I want to show it to my buyer? My buyer's going to get disappointed. If we write him a realistic offer, I'm going to say to the buyer, well, this thing's probably only worth $1.2 million. So when it's only worth $1.2 million, if we write him an offer for $1.15 million, the buyer's not going to be interested. My seller's going to be disappointed, and if my buyer's going to be disappointed, and what's going to happen? Who's he going to be upset with? Me. It's always the buyer's agent's problem. It's always his fault if it doesn't happen. And if we don't have a contract with the buyer after they're disappointed and they're blaming it on me because I couldn't get it for them at that value, then I've lost someone that wants to sell real estate. Why am I saying all of this? I'm not looking for sympathy for me. I'm trying to explain to sellers how to get inside the realtor's mind. Nowadays, when we market your home, we're marketing it probably more to realtors than we are to the general public. We want to get the realtors excited about selling your home. You're not going to get realtors excited about selling your home if you have an overpriced listing. Realtors want to sell homes that have recently come on the market, are priced fairly, and they know it's not going to be a bloodbath during the negotiations, and that they're going to be able to get their buyers a home that they consider to be great value. So I just want to give you the idea of getting inside realtors' heads there, because they're the ones you're marketing your home to. The other thing that with that is, and just going back to it, the seller controls the flow of traffic into the home, not the realtor. The seller controls the flow of traffic. Well, how can that be? That's because 80% of the job for marketing your home is done through pricing. There's three things that are important: price, presentation, and marketing. I give price 80%, I give presentation 10%, and I give marketing 10%. So when you price your home aggressively or at market value, or maybe even a little below market value, then you're going to get other realtors and buyers excited to show your home. When you've been sitting on the market 356 days at the same price, that's not going to excite anyone to show your home. And if you're one of those people, that's probably why you're not getting any activity on the home. The other thing while we're on it is I'll just talk about it a bit. So what happens typically with these homes that have been on the market a long time is people start to grumble and say, oh, my home's, my realtor's not doing his job. He's not getting the home sold. Well, the home is on the internet. The MLS is on the internet. The whole world knows your house is for sale at that price. And what the internet is telling you is that they're not interested at this price. If you switch agents, let's say I was going to sell my car on Craigslist, and I've had my car on Craigslist for 6 months and it's not selling, and I get frustrated with myself that it's not selling, so I asked my friend Randy to put it on Craigslist for me at the same price. Is it going to make any difference? No. Doesn't matter who posts it on the internet. If you're posting the exact same thing, all 7 billion people that have access to it are telling you it's not there. What will change if you're changing agents? Change your price at the same time. And in defense of real estate agents, it's probably not their fault. Well, maybe it is because they didn't have the courage to tell you you overpriced your house. But that's why your home isn't selling. It's not your agent. So there's all the bad news. I've told you all the bad things. Now let me throw you a bone and give you a little bit of hope here. Here's some things that are happening. Like I told you, there are an abundance of buyers out there. Those buyers just need something to kickstart themselves. So we've got the possible stress test relief, as I spoke about, coming in, and possible interest rate drop. And the other thing is Vancouver real estate's been good to a lot of people over the last decade. They've made a lot of money buying and selling real estate, and I kind of equate it to like the heavyweight boxer who maybe he comes back one too many times because he just wants one more moment of glory. I think there's a bunch of buyers out there that want to make some more money, and they want some motivation, and all they're doing is they're waiting for this market to bottom, or when they perceive it to bottom. And I think we could actually see things pick up around here. So these are my thoughts. I want to leave you with one more closing thought by a very intelligent money man named Warren Buffett. Be fearful when others are buying, and be buying when others are fearful. When the financial Armageddon came around in 2008 with the U.S. banking crisis, the Dow was at 8,000 points, and lots of smart people that I know were buying in at 8,000 points and got out, or got their money back that they put in, at least when it was up in the 20,000s, in the 25 to 27,000 range. It doesn't make any sense to want to buy when the market is hot and on the way up. You want to buy when it's low. And for all you haters out there who want to say negative things that the thing is crashing, I want your opinions too. So don't forget to give us your comments, give us your thumbs up, your thumbs down, and or subscribe to our page. I'm Jamie Hooper with RE/MAX Crest and JamieHooper.com, and we look forward to speaking with you again soon.